Hi Anna, hi Jens, and welcome back to the second episode now of our Windclusion podcast. I'm super excited that we're continuing with the series. I think the first part was really to start, and I know that we have received quite some feedback for the first episode. Um, for me personally, this was actually quite scary. It was definitely stepping out of my comfort zone and sharing openly. I have never done YouTube or any similar format. So that was kind of fun. But I think now that we're doing it for a second time, we are probably way more experienced. At least this time we have all the same background. But for everyone who basically listens to us for the first time, let us go through probably another introduction round just quickly. So just to remind everyone, I'm Victoria, and I am the head of HR for the UK and Ireland at Siemens Gamesa at the moment. And I have with me my lovely co-hosts, Anne Drünkler and Jens Böke. So Jens and Anne, who wants to go next? Maybe you can also share how your week has been. What are the current challenges? Is there anything that leaves you sleepless at night?
Sure. You start first, Anna.
All right. Yes, I'm Arne, and I'm working also in the same company as Victoria. Yeah, my week has been okay, I would say. I was sick the last 2 days, being recovered today. So at the time we are recording that, I hope that my nose is not too close and you can hear me quite well. But yeah, so far so good. I'm looking forward to this episode.
Thanks, Anna. So, my name is Jens Böke, working for Owens Corning in strategic marketing globally for the wind industry. That's actually one of the reasons why I joined Windclusion, as we are a foundation member of Windclusion with others like Siemens Gamesa, LM Wind Power, Ørsted, and a lot more companies. My week so far, it started yesterday, actually. But always fun, as I've got 3 kids, so there's always a lot of noise in my house. It was a weekend. I'm rebuilding at current some parts of our bedroom, so that's what I actually do. And the fun part was yesterday when I brought my son to the kindergarten. Well, I said I need to leave right now because I have a meeting upcoming, and then one of the kindergarten Erzieher in English would be, I don't know, but so the people who are in charge of our kids at the kindergarten, she said to him, "Hey, daddy has to go because aircrafts need to fly." Because in the past I was in aerospace and she knew that, but my son was insisting, no, he is working in wind and they are making the glass fibers. So that was totally clear for him. That was a proud moment for myself because I didn't even consider they know, right? So I always try to teach them what daddy is doing. But I was proud hearing that he really understood. So that was my kind of fun story from yesterday. And yeah, the rest of the week I'm looking forward to another interesting week because I think we've shared it last time in the podcast as well. You have meetings with people from all around the world, which is to me one of the most exciting things of working within such an environment.
That's perfect. And thanks again for sharing your story regarding your son. Funny enough, that is the feedback that I think I'm receiving the most, that people are just not that informed about our industry in general, and what wind turbines are, what kind of components they have. So maybe since last time we talked a lot about diversity in the industry, and to give people a little bit more of a perspective on what kind of industry are we operating, do we want maybe to spend a few moments to talk about the different components and how a wind turbine actually comes to life? From an HR perspective, I can of course contribute talking about the people who are needed in order to bring this to life, but maybe really from a more technical part, I leave it to the both of you.
Yeah, I don't
Yes.
know. Arne, do you want to start? Do I?
Absolutely. Yeah, maybe also just to mention it because we will probably not release this episode on a Tuesday. We are recording it on a Tuesday in case people are confused that we are talking about that our week just started. Um, So yes, wind turbine. I think that's a very good question, and also what we talked about, that we should maybe bring that a little bit more to our listeners, because yeah, it is like looking very simple, right? And actually, it just is a big turning wheel. So what can be so complicated about it, and what is it actually built of? And maybe, Jens, I will start with the very simple things, and then you can go
Yeah.
over and be a little bit more precise. So basically, every wind turbine consists of a tower, a so-called nacelle, which holds the generator, then a hub where the blades are connected to, and then of course the blades, which kind of capture the wind. And then inside the nacelle is, as I mentioned, a generator which converts the rotational energy of the wind, so to say. Or that's not really precise. The rotational energy comes from the wind turning uh, the big wheel, and that is then transformed to electricity. That in very simple terms. And maybe one thing you can also maybe answer, Jens, because I heard that question a lot. Why are all wind turbines actually white? If we can say that
White.
at the end of this episode,
Yeah.
I can give you the answer, but maybe you already have it.
Okay. Shall I try now?
Yes.
Okay. So I would think that one of the reasons is they are exposed to a lot of sunlight, and due to that fact, the kind of thermal conductivity would increase. And as we are talking about a fiber with a reinforced fiber, plastic reinforced with fiber, sorry, um, that might affect the plastic part of the material, and that's one of the reasons, because we are talking about very technical, some temperature, glass transition temperatures in composites. And if it's here, we are talking about a very specific epoxy resin, which has a transition temperature of 80 degrees, which could happen if it's very hot day. Um, and you would have, let's say, black painted turbine, that would definitely affect the resin, because then you would have a heating up of above 80 degrees at least.
That
And
is
then
precisely the right answer, of
oh
course.
yes, and then they would more look like a, I don't know, something else than a stiff blade, right? So that could really
Yes.
happen. Yeah. Yeah, and probably just to add on a little bit, if we start at the top, which are the blades, quite an interesting fact that today we are building blades above 100 meter, 100. We are in the range of 120 meters already, which is unbelievable. If I pass the highway here near my hometown, close to Hamburg, we are talking about some turbine around 25 meters, and this is only like 25 years ago, right? So amazing which kind of steps companies have done to really advance the technology, build huge blades, and these are all made with, for example, reinforced fibers, which we are providing. Then you have a lot of resins, as I mentioned earlier when you had your difficult question, and for sure you have some sandwich materials, core materials involved. You have a lot of processing materials which really help to make the blade. Meanwhile, we call it infusion process. Um, these are all different materials, all different suppliers. And as we know, wind consumes huge volumes of materials. So as well, big suppliers like we are, like others are in the ecosystem. Um, so a lot of just to come back to the HR perspective here, a lot of jobs involved, a lot of, in that specific case, engineering, shop floor people, a huge amount of shop floor people making the blades actually, um, and for sure production quality guys, and many more. I think Victoria, you can add on that later on. But then if we come from, let's say, this is right now the blades, 3 blades plus the hub make the turbine. The turbine is then connected to the nacelle, where you have all the electrical components in, like the generator, and there you have a wide field for sure, as well for engineers, but more electricians, electronic related people, which is as well completely disconnected from what I do, for example, right? And that's actually very interesting. I have got some friends working in the different fields. There are people making maintenance, right? Some electricians making maintenance. Some people are flying up there and do maintenance on the blades. So absolutely fantastic. There's one guy studying here close to the place where I am at right now. Interesting and amazing if you listen to these guys who are on the top of a 200 meters turbine tower and repairing some of the blades. And then for sure you have the tower. Tower is typically steel. At some point you have these hybrids, a little bit concrete and then steel. Again, very different business because we were talking about reinforced plastics and right now we are talking about steel and concrete, right? So very, very differentiative business here. Plus then it comes to the building and construction part, which is then is the foundation. And the foundation is a huge thing we did never see normally. If you look it up at Google, it's amazing. It's unbelievable what a foundation means of a wind turbine, right? And there we have a lot of others working in that specific field. Companies who need to come with and dig the holes, right? And then making the concrete, then having the steel reinforcement at some point, or we are working on glass reinforcement for it, for example. So that's quite wide and interesting. And then that does never stop. If I look from the perspective of someone like Ørsted, right? They have people who are looking at the places where does a turbine make sense, which turbine does make sense where, right? So low wind, high wind, offshore, onshore, different areas. And then a lot of people, logistics, right? They are taking care of how do we even get these big plates to the dedicated place. And this is a little bit in a very short and crisp way, the kind of variety we have and what a turbine and all the components are.
Yeah. And I think it's funny that you say there is such a big variety on turbines, and where they are placed. I kind of assume the ones who are listening to us, they are definitely from the business or at least interested in the business. But in case there might be someone who is not familiar with onshore and offshore, can you maybe elaborate what is the difference?
Easy, yeah. So offshore. Let's make it very easy, and I try to explain it to my kids as well. So, and that's how I will do it now. So offshore is everything on the sea level or at the sea level. Sorry. So meaning if here's the beach, you go to the sea, and there is offshore, right? So the shoreline would be the beach actually. And then you have for sure, which is as well high wind area. Typically, you have the near shore, which is then really at the coastal area, beach close to the beaches, and then more to the inland mainlands, where you have on the top of some hills also. You place the turbines, and this is really on shore. So that's how we kind of differentiate.
All right. That is, I guess, a very crash course introduction. And I hope, dear listeners, that you are still interested in this episode, even if it's a bit more technical. But for me, that's also really the interesting part. I mean, I originally come from a science background. My first job was connected to the healthcare industry. And when I changed to the wind industry, of course, I had a certain picture of the wind industry. I had a certain expectation. But what I can definitely say, what was like a huge thing when I changed here is the massive dimensions for whatever you talk about. And I mean, also what you just mentioned, Jens, with the foundations. When you are just driving on the highway and see some wind turbines, then again, it looks very simple, right? 4 base components and nothing really special about it. But there are actually so many challenges behind bringing a wind turbine to production and getting it up at the place where it stands, that it's just amazing. And for me, it's also really, a great thing to be part simply of this industry and see that, what I every day do is actually contributing to bringing these big machines and these also like extremely high technology machines, to work on a daily basis, so to say.
Mm-hmm.
There are definitely a lot of different job profiles as well that we need. I think the industry, in order to really bring the wind turbine to life, the kind of profiles you need, they're really from an engineer, production, technician, to very high level SCADA, heavy lift. So all those very specific job titles that we have. But then again, if you take a step back and look more to what is behind all that, of course, we still have finance. We also have procurement, because there are also a lot of things which we might not be able to produce ourselves and we have to get somewhere else. There are a lot of small components that we need in order to be able to create a wind turbine in the first place. There is communications, there is marketing that is involved there. And the very interesting part from my perspective, and I remember that this was completely new to me when I joined the wind business for the first place. This was regarding project management, how much project work it actually is by the end of the day, and how many project managers we also need in all different levels. So this is the really exciting part. But with that, of course, comes also the challenge of skill shortage. And I think in order to really overcome it, we would also need to try and attract people from other industries to actually come and join not only the renewables, but actually really join wind. So maybe to close this episode, and we can talk about skill shortage and the different jobs that are needed and what could be the solutions in our next episode. But maybe Anne and Jens, from your perspective, why are you working in wind? What is the exciting part for you?
Anna?
Okay. Well, for me, it's as I already indicated. For me, it's really a great thing to be part of these, movement. I would say to actually do an energy revolution here, and I think that's really what we are seeing, even if it's over a longer term. But like wind has the big advantage that it is caused by direct weather impact and caused by the solar energy which is coming right now and not 60 million years ago. So that is really something where I am, I would even say proud that I can support the world of being or getting to a more sustainable energy production, basically. And then on top of it, it is really the amazing perspectives and possibilities the industry has. Like we had it in episode 1, it is definitely an absolute global business. I was able to meet so many different facets of people. I learned so many things about myself and about other people. And at the same time, the product, why it looks maybe somehow boring to an outsider, it is actually amazingly interesting from a technology perspective. When what Jens already mentioned with the how the blades are casted, when you see to which stress the components are exposed on a daily base, and that they actually have to sustain for 25 years for a normal lifetime, then I think that is really, really amazing. And it's simply a good business from my perspective.
Fueled by the wind, right? So that's actually one of the cool things I really love about this industry, that it's using what is there, right? It's like that we can say the same about solar for sure. A lot of us have some panels on their roofs, but wind is for me, as it is I'm coming from composites, so there's a dedication and passion in that specific part. So that's why it makes sense for me to work at least in the blade area. To me as well, what you just said is everything is exactly right, and just think of the fact what I said earlier, 25 meters some years ago, which was 1/3 of an A380, right? And today we are looking to turbines which are most probably soon double of an A380. So that's unbelievable what happens in technology. And as well, I mean, I like them, how they look, and I have a kind of relaxing feeling if I watch them standing somewhere. We have a lot of turbines around here where I live. And to me, it's really really to contribute to what you just said. One thing, and second thing is really it's a passion for me. And that's why I love to be in this industry. Even if I've been working in aerospace, still very interested in everything that happens around aerospace. But wind to me has this additional component of a sustainable industry, and that's what I love. But we know as well, looking into sustainability, for example, how much big steps an already sustainable industry is doing to really deal with being sustainable, having recycling concepts in place, and so on. And I think there are not much industries who are already at that level and will launch so many initiatives over the next years until 2030. We will see a huge part being recycled of these blades. And that's as well something very cool and part of my kind of heart story, because that's something I'm really contributing to as well. And that's why I'm here.
Cool. The endless possibilities of wind.
Yes.
It's definitely a nice one.
Thanks a lot. I think with that, we have a short one today, right, Victoria? So we said, let's make shorts.
Yes. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And I hope you are still hooked after our second episode. And yeah, see you next time.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye.